when I was 14, they did experimental surgery on me. I was like a guinea pig. My dad elected. This happened. I was playing basketball with my brother, and this dog, this rottweiler, came and attacked my right arm. I was like getting thrown back and forth like a rag doll for a couple minutes. So it was
Wow.
a trauma that happened to me. I was rushed to the hospital in the ambulance. I saw the white light. Is hurt people hurt people. Timing beats speed, precision beats power. In order to have things that you never had or be where you want to be, you got to do things that you've never done and go places you've never been. People get either stuck thinking about past experiences, or they're just always thinking about a better future. You can't study your own life like the stock market. Like I said, I learned from a young age, when you burn bridges, you can't go back on them. There's no limit to what can be achieved if no one cares about who gets the credit for it.
And this guy right here definitely deserves a lot of credit for everything he has been through and the way that he's impacting people through his story and what he does. After 3 life-altering events that happened to him, Jan has quite the story. He was attacked by a rottweiler dog when he was only 7 years old whilst playing basketball, and he remains scared and traumatized by his own dog and other animals for the years to come. Moreover, he would have facial tics that he could not control and experience bullying because of that. In high school, he became passionate about lifting weights, but soon after he discovered that he needed an immediate heart surgery. If that wasn't enough, guys, at 14 years old, our guest was trialed through an experimental surgery, which luckily went well. He had moments when he thought that he would not be around anymore. Later on, at 26 years old, he has gone through a second heart surgery now. Again, it went well, but this man is an absolute beast, I'm telling you guys. This conversation was very inspiring to say the least, but as always, I will leave you guys to it. I will leave you to discover more. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, Jan Gregory K. You are listening to The Grateful Show with your hosts Pascu
and Bogdan. Join us on our mission to spread awareness around mental health and make people feel happier and overall more grateful.
Each week, we bring you an inspiring guest, stories, and a message that will help you become your best self and pursue your life mission.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to The Grateful Show. Hope you are doing fantastic, and if you are not, you're about to be, because today we have no one other than Ian K. How is it going, brother?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing? I'm grateful to be here today.
Yeah, very well. Actually, it's our pleasure. Just to break the ice, I'm going to ask you, what are you grateful for today?
Wonderful. So today I'm really grateful just for the simple thing of having water. Fresh water. Water's nourishment for your body. It's important to stay hydrated. And, when you're thirsty, you got to be disciplined, but you also have to be able to quench that thirst. So I'm grateful for waking up today and having water.
Love that. Water, oxygen, and probably sunlight are the first 3 things that we need to survive, right? So definitely a thing that people neglect. They might say they are grateful for Wi-Fi or something else. But brother, for our audience to get a clear understanding on yourself, can you give us a 3 to 4 minutes introduction in who you are and basically how you came to be where you are, please?
Sure, it's tough to sum that up, but I'll give a little intro. So I'm Ian Gregory K. I'm 32 years old, born and raised in Southern California. I'm a product developer. I'm a social media strategist, and I'm an online accountability coach. So a lot of people don't know this, but 3 life-altering events happened to me. One, I was attacked by a rottweiler when I was 7 years old, so I had a near-death experience. I also had 2 open heart surgeries, one at 14, another at 26, and also from having been attacked by a rottweiler, I developed Tourette syndrome later because I went into shock and I had a traumatic situation happen, a near-death experience. So just growing up with all that adversity at a young age really brought perspective and taught me gratitude very early on in life, where then I, just grew into the person I am today. So.
Really
Brilliant.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. I mean, I'm not sure that you've been through a lot, but I'm very curious, what experience are you the most grateful for so far?
That's tough. So I'm really, I'd have to say it's probably like the dog attack number 1. I'll tell you why. Just because that was something that was so out of left field, something that just happened. I was playing basketball with my brother, and this dog, this rottweiler, came and attacked my right arm. I was like getting thrown back and forth like a rag doll for a couple minutes. So it was a trauma that happened to me. So I feel like that happened, but also my a hero, my next door neighbor, came over and saved my life, took the dog off my arm. So like that experience not only was life altering, but it taught me that, hey, like there's gonna be people there that and I literally was like crying out for help, like people in my neighborhood were hearing my screams. And there's going to be people that hear your desperate cry for help, or if you're in a situation. And look, I was heroically saved by my next door neighbor who saved my life from this dog. So like that taught me early on, not only how fragile life is, but like how sometimes people or things will happen and there's going to be miracles. Like someone will lend a hand out there to help you and be there for you and save you. And then also too, it's like, there's going to be things that are going to try to rip your life away from you and you're going to have to fight for your life. So like I was rushed to the hospital in the ambulance. I saw the white light. I'm a 7-year-old kid. Like, so I was really grateful for that experience. And I had no choice but to have the courage to grow from that. I was really traumatized and scared of my own dogs. I was scared of other animals, but I didn't realize at the time. That's what I say, you say like which event, it's hard. And I'll talk about my heart surgery later, but really heart surgeries later, but really it's like going through that whole experience taught me so much and I had to learn from that. And I didn't want to be a victim anymore. I emotionally ate when I was 8-9 years old. I developed the Tourette syndrome neurologically. I started twitching and ticking and having facial tics. I couldn't control that. So it's like, these are things that happen, PTSD, call it, or other things. And I'm grateful for all that stuff because it taught me humility. It gave me the ability to not, at one point as a kid, not understand what was going on with my body, having doctors to have to explain this. And then you grow up and you're able to learn about your body, what works for you, what makes you tick, literally, right? So like I've had to reverse engineer the way that I view myself. And it's from like that thing early on. I never like taking off my shirt. I have scars on my arm. I was able to play baseball. I'm an athlete, but there's these things where it's like, dude, like I'm so grateful that I had that. I was able to go through other stuff and I could not have my arm today. So I'd say it's like that crazy thing at a young age, the life altering experience, man. And people go through it, like people that are really inspiring or motivating or just doing things, you wonder what gets them up every day. And it's that thing that I remember every day of like, holy shit, I almost was killed. So I'm grateful every day. And every day I wake up, I just thank the fact that I was like literally heroically saved. I know it's like romantic and whatever, but it's so important to be very in touch with the story that you tell yourself and the things that happen in your life, because experiences are everything and experiences shape who you are. And that's one of the things of how I identify myself.
Very powerful. And I don't think it's romantic. I believe that it would only be perceived as romantic for a person that doesn't appreciate life for what it actually is. But before diving any further, has anybody been taken like accountable for what happened to you with that dog at the time?
That's a great question. So I'm very fortunate to where my father actually was able to intervene and I got restitution, and that dog had to go put down to sleep because it was literally a product of its environment. This dog was beaten. It was not a friendly dog. So the owner had to be held responsible and accountable and correct. So like I was able to luckily have a settlement put aside to have that as restitution and to take care of medical bills and so many things. But literally like that is a gift from that. But it's unfortunate when things happen like that. But that's the thing, from raising your kids, from raising animals, everything comes down to accountability, from starting a business or doing anything else. So it's so important to I'm grateful every day for so many things, but like I said, Bogdan, that traumatic experience taught me so many things in many ways, shapes and forms. So
Right, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it's fortunate that it was the case, and at least you've been able to take someone responsible for that, because otherwise it would have been just very cruel and very unfortunate. Of course, it was still unfortunate, but at least it could have been way worse in that sense. But how was your childhood afterwards, till like, let's say, till 16, 17 years old? How were you coping with everything? Because I'm guessing if you're an adult and you go through such a life-changing experience, you you're changed, you're not the same person anymore. But I'm imagining as a child you would be even, I guess, more strong in terms of like emotions.
Yeah, that's a good question. Really, I just grew up. I wouldn't say not comparing myself, but I just knew I was different from these things, and I got along with a lot of people. Like, I guess it really taught me. I mean, everyone. This is what I believe. Everyone has human capabilities of feeling and empathy, but I just feel like going through that traumatic experience taught me so much about other people and understanding other people. So like I've always just been a peacemaker. And here's the thing that I've learned really early on in my life, in my journey, is hurt people, and people that are healed or that have healed themselves can heal other people. And it's not about, oh, these magical powers of I'm gonna heal you. It's more of the true teacher, the true person that is the expert, not the guru, you know, is able to ask the right questions to the person that's seeking their own answers. And here's the thing: everyone has a different book, different chapters, different stages, and you can't think of age. I'm 32 years old, years on. You can't think of age as chronological. I feel like it's more experiential. There's kids that are born with horrible things that never leave a hospital. And their life, or this experience of life, are these amazing moments of dogs coming to visit them, or other things that you would never take for granted. Or I said water, these kids might be obsessed with soda or something that they're not used to having. It's just like, you have to realize there's certain things that people will live in their own hell. And it's me having that sense of hell that I experienced from the dog that I've made into my light. That darkness, that trauma, and that pain does not last forever. Regret and horrible decisions that you make last, but you have to forgive yourself. But like, the thing is, this pain doesn't last forever. And it's just like going through that and having I really, people don't believe this, but I never got in any fights growing up. And you ask 16 and stuff, I was always like the guy that wanted to be cool with people. Like, I was friendly with a lot of different people. I was also like a loner too, because but I identified as an athlete. So it's like, it's tough. Like it was really easy for me to, I wouldn't say blend in, but like just be cool with other people, because I got used to bullies and people making fun of my Tourette's and stuff. And I just realized early on that, like, bullies, man, they're doing that for a reason. Like, they're projecting their fucking hate and their insecurities on other people. They're miserable. Hurt people. Like, there's something, maybe their dad at their home is verbally or physically abusing them that I don't know anything about, and then they're fucking saying some shit to me. Like, it's those little things that, like, I'm like, oh, like, maybe I'm gonna think about this and put myself in someone else's shoes, that I can do. And that's what allows me to be really good with my clients and like help people with what they're going to put in their bodies and nutrition, or help people brand, or the intention behind things. Like, I'm very intentional because of the things that have happened to me or happened for me. And it's tough. Like, it's tough, but to answer that question of like growing up and stuff, but I just feel like it just gave me really good thick skin, and it gave me the ability to deflect what people are going to say to me, because fuck, man, I didn't even know what was going on, and I'm taking these medications and I'm like getting made fun of and having twitches and tics, and I can't control it. Like, you can't control your heart rate sometimes, like, so I wasn't controlling. It was involuntary, all the facial tics and stuff. So it's like, I'm just really grateful for that experience, because it taught me, like, dude, there's gonna be mean people out there. Everyone's gonna judge you no matter what, even if I didn't do these antics. Or everyone talks about, marketing is anything that gets your attention or that is of value and that's kind of in your face and is a spectacle or some sort. Marketing is an experience of some way, shape, or form, or a meme or a thought. So it's like, when you have those things happen to you, it's you don't forget.
We had a past
Amen.
guest on our show who's very much involved into like the whole crypto world, and he was mentioning about the marketing as being like a porn star, and it really stood out to me. And ever since, I keep remembering this guy's words. It's like a porn star.
I like that. It's funny.
But yeah, we really gotta acknowledge you for the awareness that you have now, and the way you see things, because like, they're so easy to go through these events like you went through, and then be traumatized, but obviously in a negative way. And then, like you said, you could have just hurt like other people because you were hurt in your place, but instead you are just trying to help people. And coming to that, you have said at the beginning of the podcast that you are a coach and you try to acknowledge people, but can you dive a bit further into this? How exactly are you helping your clients?
For sure, yes. So everything comes down to our behaviors and habits. So I'm an accountability coach where it's really give or take based upon the goals of my clients, the practical goals. I'm able to go through a process, and within a month or two, so at least 30 to 60 days, I'm able to put systems in place and make sure that they can improve their current situation and achieve from their own habits and behaviors of what they're currently not doing, and fixing that with something else. Because people worry about all the time, oh, what am I not doing enough of, and what do I need to do more of? Like, it's not necessarily how many hacks or swings you need to take. Like, there's a quote, I think it's like either Washington or Lincoln, give me 6 hours and I'll spend 5 hours sharpening the axe to chop down the tree. Like, don't think that you need to work your ass off taking all these hacks. Sometimes it's timing beats speed, precision beats power, and you taking your time with certain things. So it's like it's important to know what you're doing and why you're doing it. And then when you can just do that, it's not even about, oh, I have to do more of this. It's like actually stop, unlearn the behaviors and habits that aren't getting you where you want to be, because that's what your own problem or your own view of your situation is holding you back. This is what happens all the time. Call it in business, call it within, fitness, call it within just mindfulness or mental health. Like, people need to realize, and that's the thing, like my trauma, I might have healed myself, but it's never gone. It's not even buried in the bottom of my soul. Like, it's part of me, but I've just made it part of my life and what I do every day. And I don't talk about it. I'm not just a victim about it. I'm being about it every day. And there's a lot of things that I do and that is worth it to me. That's not on social media. It's what you have to do every day. And when you're consistently doing that, you're then doing, like, practicing the laws of the universe. Like, what's an object in motion tends to stay in motion. So when you're always moving around and you're, like, you won't get hurt when you're always walking around and stretching, and about this with mobility and stuff like that.
So basically,
Yeah.
you started, you became an athlete more or less, and I'm guessing that was baseball, right?
So yes, I've been playing baseball since I was 4 years old.
Okay.
And I batted .406 in high school, and I could have played D2 baseball and walked on and got a great education somewhere, but I just decided, hey, I'm going to give that up, start training in the gym when I was 18. I didn't lift weights even really when I was in high school a lot, because I was limited with my heart and cardiologist. I was always limited with how heavy I could lift because of my heart. I was very lucky to grow up. Oh, here's a good thing about, like, I was asymptomatic and I was growing up 16. I had to stop playing Pop Warner football. Pop Warner football is like tackle football when I was like 12 or 13. When I was 13, I developed arrhythmia. I had to stop playing. I literally had to sit on the bench when I was younger. I was the kid that had to stand because my doctor said, you can't do it anymore because you're going to get so-and-so. So that happened. And it's like, I forget what I was going to say. Sorry. So yeah, like I couldn't play and I developed arrhythmia, and that was when I had to have my first open heart surgery at 14. So like going through that, I forget what you said right before that.
So basically, I was asking you whether it was baseball that you started with, and then you mentioned that it was right from when you were 4 years old, and then basically you started going to the gym as well at 18.
Thank you. Yes. So with baseball, I could have played baseball. I'm a lifelong athlete and I love sports. So my dad refereed in the NBA. My brother played D1 football at Berkeley and got a good education. So when it comes down to like athleticism being in my blood and me working hard and training, it's always been around that. Like, I love sports. But I gave up baseball and pursued lifting weights and went and got a graphic design education and multimedia and learned how to use computers and start websites and like branding and graphics. That's what fueled me being an artist. Perspective, looking at the art of things. And here's the thing, like what makes Picasso so special an artist is their angst, why they're creating, how they've turned their pain into purpose, what they're doing every day. Their artwork is what speaks when they're not using their mouth to speak. And that's the beautiful thing about an artist or a content creator, or what your work is. It will speak for itself. Your work will live on, whatever that is. And now we're in this day and age where artists can create videos and work that literally lives in a way, or lives on the platforms and the things that we create them on. And that's the amazing thing about the internet that we're in. But yeah, like I got really passionate about lifting weights in college because I was studying psychology. I was studying all the general stuff in school. And that's what I'm saying. Like I tell people all the time, you don't have to do school. You need to learn every day. You don't need a library to study. You don't need school to learn. But it's so important when you're at school, you have to manage your time. You meet people, you create relationships with your professors, you create relationships with the people in your classroom. I always sat in the front of every single one of my classes in college. I was paying for my education from getting attacked by a rottweiler. I was able to drive a car. There's certain things that happened to me that I was gifted with in many, like I said, in many ways, shapes, and forms. Mm-hmm. And money as a currency is an energy. It's not a thing. You shouldn't view it the material thing. You can take it in your coffin with you, but you can't take it in the afterlife with you. So when you get really honed in, guys, on your intention and the fact that you're going to be gone soon with this period of time that we're on earth, you're going to get real quick that the currency should be thought of as a legacy. What is the story or the artwork that you want to leave behind for people to talk about you? How do you want to be a good ancestor to your children or your future, the generation that's going to, like Gary Vee says, that's going to see who started their family now with the internet. People look at their photo albums and black and white photos. That's going to be old school, just like radio and TV. Like with what's going on with the enlightenment that's happening of this whole period of the digital age ever since, Y2K never happened. And I like to joke, and the real Y2K or the real shutdown of the world happened during the pandemic. And it really made everyone have to evolve, have to leverage or be forced to use technology in your phone. And now if you don't know how to use this, or you're not mindful with how you spend your time doing what you're doing every day, that's on you. We're in a day and age where, thank God, and God bless everyone in the world right now, there's hell going on in different parts of the countries, Africa, Iraq, whatever. And you need to realize that we have freedom and liberties, us being in the USA, you being in your country ever since the Geneva Convention. And we're in this day and age where it's like, screw what's happened to me in my life. Like, you should be grateful just to be living during this period, to be able to pay a phone bill and to have access to information, to teach ourselves, to teach other people. And here's the thing that I learned a long time ago. In order to have things that you never had or be where you want to be, you got to do things that you've never done and go places you've never been. Like, is that easy? Is that difficult? Can't you explain that to like a little kid? It's like, so it's things, us human beings, we're all not perfect. So when you can just start to learn that and start being open to learning every day, you're going to realize real quick that things are fucking really that simple. Things are hot and cold. Things are either like a little bit warm or a little cold. Like, and here, if it looks like a duck, if it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, it usually is a duck. So it's like, you just have to, I'm just saying that you have with everything, and it's tough. But people get caught up in their own way, and people need help with branding. People get caught up in their own habits. People need help with what they're going to be held accountable with their meal plans, or what they're going to be putting in their meal. If they're snacking, if they can go 4 or 10 hours without eating anything. It's like up to them with their lifestyle, what they're able to do. If they're driving a lot, if they can have snacks on them, if they're biking, if they don't have access to put their food, or if they don't have a backpack. Like, everyone lives a different lifestyle or is at home more than they're at work. So it's just like so important to just be mindful of your stuff. And I feel like when you're grateful for little things, you'll be more mindful of stuff. Because if you're really aware of what you're grateful for, you'll be mindful of all your like actions and what you're doing. And it's tough when people aren't aware of what they're doing every day. It's really hard to be held accountable or to learn from what you're doing wrong or right. And that's why it's so important to have good people in your circle and people that care about you, because they can keep you in your own way. And like, it's so important, the 5 people that you spend your most time with. Like, I value my time with my wife, my family, colleagues, people that I spend time with, like this time that we're doing, if everything needs to be, you can't just say, well, yeah, it's like nothing comes down to money. It's like, what's the ROI of my time? What's the return on investment of my time? Time is limited. I don't think like that. And I live in abundance, but time is everything. And no moment is ordinary. I learned this because I had moments where I thought I was not going to be around anymore. and I just wanted to grow up and like be alive. Like my heart surgeries and stuff, I knew I got attacked by the dog, but I knew I was going to have to like go under the knife and have crazy surgery where this machine's going to breathe through you and you're going to get your heart and your sternum cut open and like all this, it's like it's hard to get that explained to you, but I didn't have a choice. And I'm so grateful that I'm born in this day and age and I have healthcare and I was able to pay for, afford for my heart surgery and so many other things that I have been blessed with that have happened for me. And call it cliche and all this stuff, but it's like things have an amazing way of working out when like your actions are all aligned with your intentions and like what you believe in. And that's the beautiful thing about everyone has a choice to believe in. And there's people in prison that are waking up that are in a really great state of mind and great place. And they've healed themselves somehow, even though they've done horrible things. And I'm not saying like power to them or anyone, but it's just like everyone's going to go through something bad. And when you can share your horrible experiences in a positive way and be a kind human being and individual to anyone, that's upfront respect. That's a beautiful thing. That's going to make the world a better place. Everyone's going to progress and get better.
That's legacy.
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly. Yeah, Ian, just talking about gratitude and about happiness, can you share with our audience what are 3 things that you currently do and you would recommend to them as well to do in order to become more grateful and more happy overall, the most important ones?
Great question. It's really tough for everyone and people need to trick their own mind and do what works for them. But first and foremost, every morning and every night, I just focus on breath work. So it's so important to just, if you can be aware of a moment, no moment is ordinary, and take a deep breath, that's you controlling a moment in your life right there. So it's like no one can take away what you focus on. So when you just focus on your breath and that moment of your breath, that's going to just help you stay right on the moment. And that's the thing, like it's hard to create and get to a better place for your future if you start not being in a present moment. Everyone, from my own experiences and what I've learned from people, and I'm always learning, people get either stuck thinking about past experiences or they're just always thinking about a better future. And when you can't be really caught in the moment and write your goals down. So I would say breath work is 1, being caught in the moment. 2 is writing goals down. If you can't write your grocery list down or put it in your phone on your notes, you're not going to know what to fucking get when you go in the grocery store. It's so important to know what you want, to make that choice for yourself before you then start categorizing things and choosing. You won't ever, and it's hard to go in a car and not input your destination, not write anything down and drive. And I hate being lost in a car. Or hate's a big strong word. I don't like being lost in a car when I have iPhone battery and I have navigational stuff and I want to just get to where I need to get, right, safely. So it's like when you don't input stuff or write things down, you'll never be able to check them off that you've done them, thus feeling better about it. You do this in weightlifting, you do this with so many other things with sheets. And so I'd say breath work, writing things down. And then the last thing I'd say is just stating things you're grateful for. Not just saying them to yourself or stating them, but knowing why you're grateful for them. It's one thing to say, hey, I'm grateful for water. But why I'm grateful for water is because there's people that wake up that can't take a hot shower. There's people that wake up, they don't have access to clean drinking water. That's why I'm thankful for water. It's bottled, someone commoditized it and made it a product. So like, that's why it's so important to know why you're grateful for things. So just stating that stuff will get you into breathing, writing your goals down and looking over them so that you're aware of them, even if you don't get them done, so that you're just cognizant of something that you set your mind to do. That's going to allow you to hold yourself accountable, get in the breath, and then also just it's going to heighten your level of joy, of happiness, of gratitude, because you can celebrate a moment of what it is and why you're grateful for that.
Very powerful. Ian, I wanted to ask you, because obviously you working with people, you definitely have faced this and will face it numerous times with your clients. A lot of people write their goals down, right? Especially in January, everyone is pumped for the new year. They have big goals, but more likely than not, majority of them will never follow on those goals. Why do you think that is the case? And what is, I guess, one concept that people have to grasp in order to overcome that, I guess, procrastination?
Powerful question. I guess this touches upon what I was saying before, and it's tough for everyone. Don't compare yourself to anyone and have those goals. And just, you got to do the 1-step program. You can't get to X, Y, and Z if you're not doing A great. You know, you can't run a slow-paced power walk marathon if you can't even crawl or walk first. So it's like, have practical goals, and don't come to March, 3 months down the line from January, when you set your goals of the new year, and say, where did I go wrong? If you're taking action and you're just doing it one thing at a time, and then, because you can't scale or grow something that's not working. Everyone, I feel like, is striving to have some sort of foundation or whole life balance to what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's their own worst enemy. It's not everything else that's going on outside in the world, it's from within. So when you can hold yourself accountable, it's hard to do that when you is just talk to yourself. But when you write the goals down, you're really holding yourself accountable to what you're writing down, and then you're taking action every day, then it becomes the reality. And that's the thing. Some people sleep on their dreams, and some people work on their dreams every day. We're all the same amount of productive, and we're getting all the same amount of quality work done when we're sleeping. We're all doing the same amount of quality work with the ROI of our sleep time, period. Some might be better at lucid dreaming. Some might be better at REM sleep and get better sleep throughout the night. Some might not have to get up to go to the bathroom once or twice. Mm-hmm. People are getting different quality of sleep. But the point is everyone's doing the same thing when they're sleeping, but it's when you're awake and just being slow with the process. Everyone has to figure out their own self, like working computer. You need to know your own modem, your own input, so then you can have your best output. So it's like, start small, be practical, and do little things in checklists. But it's like, it's tough. I feel like the biggest problem is everyone sets too big of an expectation for their goals. They want to lose 30 pounds instead of 5 to 10. They want to do it within a month instead of 3 months.
Gotta 10x everything.
Right. And then here's the thing. What if they can get it, but then what's the point of getting something if you can't sustain it and then you lose it? Same thing with money, not just weight, not just fat on your body. Don't you want to hold on to it and keep it and retain it and then make that even more abundance? It's not about, oh, hack, trick, shortcut, cheat. Ooh, I'm gonna, like, that's I never took the SAT or the test for college. I went to junior college. I actually took a year off of college and started going into being a warehouse manager and learning how to operate operations and business. So the point is, though, is you have to realize that, like, everything comes down to skill sets and experience. And when you can learn that, you're going to just keep riding this thing called life, man. Like, we're like, everything that you ever have done or experienced, you can learn from. You can make it a hell or a heaven. I've learned from all these experiences, bad or good. And anyone will tell you that has a vivacity to just show up every day and has resilience. It's because of something happened to them and they're just turning that thing into a positive. And that's the thing, like, my heart, my admiration goes out to anyone that's doing something that is of value, that shows pure joy. When you're doing that, it could be monetized. It could really help someone. It's going to change someone's life from content, from impact, from the truth that exists from the experience. And that's the beautiful thing that I've learned a long time ago. When you're really intentional with stuff, you don't lie to yourself, because you will never lie to other people or treat people horribly if you're not lying to yourself or treating yourself horribly. So it's like,
100%.
You can't give someone what you already don't have. Can't do it. You can bullshit and talk about it, but you won't be able to deliver with your actions. So it's like, when you get really intentional with your actions and you're really aligned with the truth, your truth, the truth is like gravity and air. It exists. It's there. It will be there once it happens. And when you can, like, honor the truth and pray to the truth will present itself. And, like, I just learned that a long time ago. Like, truth is always there. And, like, when you can just, like, be really and having your integrity aligned with searching for it, it's a beautiful thing. The world will become more connected to you than ever before, because I believe we all are connected. I love the movie Avatar. I believe that movie is so true, to the point of where, you can plug your hair, your things into animals. And there's certain people that have, relationships with horses and other, you feel the heart, the beat of another soul. But like that tree and how everyone on the earth's connected, man, like, in so many ways or shapes or form, man. We don't all choose to be here, but we're fucking here living this life. So we need to choose to, like, learn that is just mystifying. Call it a god, or call it by chance, or call it like a dice of the Big Bang in the universe. Like, we're all here, man. So it's like, we need to just kind of smile and get through our own shit together and share our stories. If we can do that, I think everyone's going to realize the truth of that beautiful thing.
Definitely, you're gonna enjoy the ride. I really loved how you've put and portrayed both the hell and heaven. And I didn't want to interrupt you, but I wanted to ask you: do you consider that for every high that one gets, that person needs to get through a low first, and vice versa, or not?
That's interesting. I just think, just like a heartbeat, things always happen in waves, and it is like nature's pure. Look at the sand in the desert, not just from when a snake goes over it, but like the sky, the clouds, like it's sorry, highs and lows. I just feel like it's all frequencies. Like waves in the ocean are just happening. Motion is happening all around, even when you're not moving, like your heart's beating. So it's like, call it entrepreneurship, call it life. I don't think you need to go have a high before a low or a low before a high. And I think if you're just always going to be thinking of like that, like studying the stock market, you can't study your own life like the stock market. You can't study it like a subject. You have to just like dive from within and ask questions. Sometimes studying isn't just asking questions. Like you can learn stuff by reading and not asking questions. That's pure obtaining and retaining knowledge just from like learning. But like sometimes you have to ask the questions. So I just feel like it's tough. Like I don't think everyone will have to, in some way, shape, or form, figure out how and why they're going to shift their perspective with what they're thinking upon is bad or good, is hell or heaven, you know, like but like I guess that would be my answer. But like that's a really tough question, and I think that's really interesting that you brought that up. But I just, to each their own, you know, it's like every circumstance is different, but I feel like it's how someone will internalize or think about something. And I feel like that comes down to, everyone has different needs. Some people are introverts, some people are extroverts, some people like to be touched, some people don't like to be touched, some people like words of affirmation, if you know what love languages are. So it's like, it's tough to know that, but it's just, everyone handles trauma and pain differently too. I handled it at a young age from over emotionally eating. I was in a victim state for a little bit, but then a year or two came by and I became the victor of my story. But like, yeah, like I lived kind of scared. I lived behind like the view of my brother being this like great three-sport college, a high school athlete that played college football and like a superstar. And it's like later in life, it took me through entrepreneurship and through amazing ventures and like going into health and wellness to really be my own hero and like have my own spotlight in a way. And that's the thing, like everyone needs to be their own storyteller, their own director and producer, and their own hero for their life. And when they do that, they're just owning their story. They're like in that heaven. Or I like to say, like, I love the movie Hook, man. God bless Robin Williams, man. He's a mentor of mine. I never met him, never shook his hand, but I feel like I know him from all his movies and all his work. And it's like, you got to think of Tinkerbell and stuff. Like everyone, you got to think of your happy thought every day. And that's going to be your magical pixie dust. Where the magical pixie dust is the action that you take. But then when you have your happy thought, then you'll be able to fly. I remember he at one point grew up, had children in Hook, and he forgot his happy thought. So like, you're going to lose your mojo at times. You're going to have the lows or, you know, the highs or whatever. But do you want the highs to last, sustain, or do you want the lows to remain low? You got to figure out that whole like balance, come to terms with your own truth, and just like take one day at a time and be kind to your future self. Don't put so much pressure on yourself with all these crazy goals and expectations, or comparing, oh, I should be here or this and that. When you just start being kind to yourself with positive, mindful thoughts and like conversations and those three things I was talking about, like the breath work, writing some goals down or some things down, and then looking at those things and then saying things you're grateful for. When you're starting to do that, man, like you can get yourself into like a heightened state. Like you really can. And it only comes from experience. Like anyone that knows and that feels it will tell you it's just like, you know, like once you feel it or you feel your bone or your muscle crack, you know, it's the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah. I love how you portrayed it, and how you have said that it's all about perspective. Because let's say that now I'm a billionaire and I'm earning like, let's say $10,000 an hour, but for somebody else who is like in a sensible position and they have just like, for them it's nothing, but for me, who am I in a sensible position and I just earned $1,000, it's like, holy shit. I mean, I've just turned my whole life. So I love the way how you portrayed the perspective. And talking about perspective, I just wanted to ask you, because everybody has its own weakness and obviously its own like good points. But for you, what would you say that it's one thing that you would change about yourself that stays in your way at a moment?
One thing I don't know. That's tough. I'm my wife and other people would say I'm extremely patient, and but one thing I change about myself, I wouldn't change anything really, but if yeah, I wouldn't change anything about myself. I don't know how to answer that.
I really love the people who just say that, because it's so important to love the way you are, and there are so many people who are just trying to find something, but most of the times you just gotta accept who you are, and obviously you gotta work at different things, and yeah, you're gonna figure it out. But I love the way how you said that you just accept the way you are.
Yeah, it's like I mean I would love to change certain things, but I just look at every situation. Where did I go wrong? How can I change it? And so and so. But I wouldn't change anything. I like I said, I learned from a young age, when you burn bridges, you can't go back on them. When you treat someone a certain way, or you do something with your actions or your behavior, that's speaking without using your words.
Exactly.
You know, like so I just and it's like that dog that it got me early on. And people joke like, did you fucking tease that dog? I was a hyper kid. Like I had ADHD early on. I was very hyper. And no, I didn't. I was playing basketball with my brother, and I ran over to chase a ball, and I think it just saw me like prey, like prance, and it just went for me, you know, like out of instinct, right? Like and yeah, man. So it's like I'm all about behaviors, and I had to study and reverse engineer myself and study my own behavior. Learned so much in psychology in school, just basic psychology. I'm not, you know, and that's the other thing. I got off my medication for Tourette's and other things, and I did have to seek professional psychiatrists growing up and doctors. You know, not all these life guru coaches or people, you know, like I'm 32 years old. I'm not a life coach yet, even though I do help people realign and I do help people with their life. I do. That's the truth. But the point is it's important to know. Sorry, I forget what I was going to say about something, but I'm sorry. I have a lot of different tangents and things that I think about. I have a very creative mind, so I do have to apologize for disconnecting the flow of that conversation. But yeah, I forgot why I was going to say that, but
No
yeah.
worries. I mean, I believe that we can definitely dive deep in like any subject for like at least an hour. But I wanted to get back a bit to your heart surgery. And my first question would be, at 14, did you actually know that you will be required to have a second heart surgery? And after that, can you please let us know how was the recovery at 26, and has it affected you mentally at all? How was that whole period?
Great question. So yeah, when I was 14, they did experimental surgery on me. I was like a guinea pig. My dad elected, from asking the doctors and stuff, to do. I was born, my aortic valve, a normal one, looks like a Mercedes sign or a three leaflet like propeller on an airplane, and I only had 2 leaflets and leakage. So they repaired my valve and took tissue from my own heart and made a 3rd leaflet when I was 14.
Wow.
I knew that would only, yeah, that, and it went really well, because usually they do cadaver valves and other things, but then that doesn't last as long because I'd be growing up. But here's the thing, they repaired it. So they knew if it's 5 years or 15 years or whatever, on the high side, like, you know, it lasted for 11, but they repaired it. I knew I was going to have another surgery, and I was very fortunate to have that done, and it went very well. But I grew up, like I said, I had to stop playing football. I was limited with lifting weights and stuff. And then my other surgery came, just developed that, you know, I was full grown almost, and the doctor saw you know, I go to a doctor every 6 months, my cardiologist, ever since I was 4 years old. When I turned like 18 or 20, I had to go see an adult, not a pediatric, not a child doctor anymore. But yeah, so like every year of my life growing up, I have to do a stress test where I'm on a treadmill. So it's like I've been training my whole life to like go on a treadmill and stuff. So like I tell this in the gym when I started training 18, and I go twice a year, but every 6 months they do an echo, and they look at my heart, you know, what they do with pregnant women, what they put on my chest to take pictures. So it's like I've been under the scope, a radar, and like I consider myself a miracle. Like everyone's a miracle in their own way, period. Just the fact that we're living and breathing. but like just from literally like having to go through these surgeries and not aesthetic wise, this isn't to look better. This is literally for life to not only feel better, but to like to have my blood flow, like my body working to what it should be working. And that's the thing, I joke, but it's like I'm a cyborg, bro. Like I'm like the Terminator. I have machinery in me because my other valve replacement, not repair, when I was 26, it's called onyx valve, and I have a mechanical valve. I take warfarin now, so I take it's like Coumadin, so it's like a blood thinner. So I'm very aware with what I eat, because certain foods that have a lot of vitamin K and that are very rich, that are greens like kale, green onions, broccoli, avocado, arugula, spinach, so many other things like that will fluctuate my blood, and I have to prick myself and take it's called INR test. And it's very similar to what people with diabetes have, testing their blood. So like that helps. I've had to do that since I was 26, but I've been on medications and stuff since I was younger. So like being able to audit and consume into my body allows me to help, like my clients and do meal plans and things like that. I've been doing that for myself, and it's really simple to then hold someone else accountable and then give them a great system in place and meet their goals. But yeah, like but going through like my second surgery really taught me and gave me a sort of rebirth in a way. And I like saying this is because like I really became more purposeful with talking about my story, and it's just through representing myself, because I do have a personal brand. I have other business brands and clients brands that I represent, but it's like having to go through like my second surgery really put into purpose that I'm like a heart warrior, that I identify in the CHD community. I'm connected to hundreds, if not thousands of people and programs that stand for heart health and heart awareness. And it's so important because mental health, and the Grateful Show talks about this. And I'm a big mental health advocate because of my brother struggling with obsessive compulsive disorder or OCD, and me struggling with Tourette syndrome, and then other neurological deficiencies. And then technically I've had, heart problems, and I joke like, but the entrepreneur, like I solve problems, right? Like there's only solutions when you can shift your perspective, because I had a heart problem growing up, but I don't view right now still going to the doctor, still being on medication every day and I don't have a heart problem anymore. I'm cured. I have a mechanical valve, you see it's my perspective. So I just feel like it's so important, the story that you tell yourself, because people would say otherwise. I'm a heart patient. So, and I have to identify, I am a patient when I go see the doctor, but it's like, you got to be patient in life, and you got to be your own patient and like learn every day, and then seek other doctors like that. I was saying that before, and I might've lost this tangent and I remember it now, but it's like, it's important because you need to seek out professionals or people that have gone through the experience yourself, if they're not a psychiatrist that could prescribe you medication. And I learned that early on in life, but it's like, like people think, oh, they're an NLP master. It's like, dude, someone that is really good with their mindfulness and they're a good coach, they might be able to help you in some way, shape, or form. And they don't, like a chiropractic, they might not be a medical doctor, but they're still like, they have knowledge and they have a skill, and and they have merit, and they're a master in their field, and they can help you. So it's like, it's really important to learn from doctors and to get diagnostics from other people that have your best interests in mind, that where you want to be in their shoes. It's so important to learn from that and learn from other people, not just yourself.
And that's the beauty, because each of us has an impact through the things that we do. And being an expert, you are yourself serving your clients, and at the same time, when you're going to see your doctor, they are the expert and you are their client. And that's how basically the world works. And I think that is pure beauty. But I wanted to ask you, Jan, as we are approaching the end of our conversation, what do you want to be remembered for or as long after you're gone?
That's a great question, and that's tough. I just want to be remembered for what I stood for, and that's just being very heartfelt with what you do. I feel like when every person that I've treated will know that I'm a kind individual, and I just feel like I want to be known for making the world a better place from my endeavors, from things that I poured my heart and soul literally into building, whether that be a product that I've worked on or co-founded, or whether it be something that I've given my attention to. Because at the end of the day, time is the most valuable asset, and you can and time is given out of like love. Like you can't put everything on one thing that you can leave for legacy. So I just want to continue to be creating and be able to let people realize that I put my heart and soul into what I stood for, and that my character has been revealed through what I spent my time doing and who I spent my time with. So it's like, it's really tough to name it one thing, but like I said, I'm 32 years old. I plan on living a long life, and I plan on having other people remember to just be kind to other people, and no one does anything alone. No one does anything alone. I'll say that again. You don't do anything alone. All the work and the best project, most important project you'll ever work on is yourself. But when it comes down to business or so many other things, like I said, from a doctor or a specialist, you need help. No one does anything alone. And if it wasn't for brothers, sisters, amazing people, and there's brothers and sisters that I have that aren't blood related. Like, you have to think of, like, there's just gonna be amazing people, brothers and sisters that come into your life, and it might be a hell situation, but they'll teach you a great lesson in some way, shape, or form. If it's a bad person or something, it's like there's going to be everyone should think of their own life as like what they want to leave as a legacy, and there's going to be characters that come into your life that might be villains, that might be jokers, that might be saints and saviors. So you just have to connect your own dots and search for that truth. And when you can do that, the world will be miraculous, and it will be something that you never even knew was already there.
I love how you portrayed it and how you have said that you do something and you want to be remembered as something that basically involves a lot of people, like in a very positive way, because a lot of people currently nowadays are just thinking, yeah, I just want to be remembered as this rich guy, and I'm driving this car, and yeah, all these selfish things. But when you come from a place of selfness, then everything starts to shift, and that's when miracles are happening, and that's when the world just becomes a better place. And again, thank you so much for coming on our podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure. But before we let you go, we just gotta ask you the last question. So just take your time on it if you need it. So it comes like this. Imagine that you are on your deathbed. So right next to you is the best version of yourself looking at yourself. You see and comprehend what you could have become. So how would you feel about yourself and about your life in that moment?
Like, what? That's a good question. That's crazy. It just hit me. So like my best version of myself is staring at me on my deathbed, and then this is what my best version of myself is going to say to me. Just the words. Is that the question?
Yeah, how would you feel about yourself when you like see the best version of yourself looking at you? What are your thoughts in that moment? Yeah.
It would probably say, told you so. Told you so. Told you so.
Why is that?
I just think that goes down to the power of just believe. When you can believe, whether that be Christ, whether that be the power of an amazing thought that's going to get you through the day, just believe. When you can believe and that's backed by faith and actions, it's amazing what can be accomplished and what can be done. And ready for this, there's no limit to what can be achieved if no one cares about who gets the credit for it. Period. That's the power of community and doing things as a collective, being connected to other people.
Very deep. Again, it just comes to being selfless and thinking about, obviously you got to think about yourself first, but because you got to help yourself and you got to love yourself, obviously, in order to help the others. And again, thank you so much for sharing your mentality and all your positive vibes with our audience. And before we let you go, we're just gonna give you the red carpet, and if you can let us and our listeners know where can they find you, what are you doing, like how can you help them, and just a brief introduction again. Sure. Just a brief
First off, I can't thank you guys both enough for having me on an amazing platform and what the Grateful Show stands for. Like, you guys are doing amazing things. You guys, it's been over 2 years that you've been doing this. So I stand by it, and I'm here to continue to support you guys. I can't thank you enough. But yeah, people can go find out more about me on my Instagram. It's IANGK. That's IANGKAY. You can go find me on heycoachk.com. That's HAEYCOUCHK.com. So that's Hey Coach K. And yeah, I am an online accountability coach. I help people with their discipline and help them stay aligned to help them reach their goals. But I'm also love building brands. And I'm just a creator. So I develop products. I like creating things. I'm an artist, but I'm not defined by all these words that I talk about and say. I'm defined by the work I do, and it speaks for itself. You can catch me on social media. But like I said, it's so important to just have fun with what you do every day, because if there's no fun in what you're doing, whether that be working out or whatever, what's the point of doing it? Do stuff that you enjoy. Time is of the asset. It's limited to an extent, but live in abundance, because choose your time wisely and choose to focus on the joy and the happiness, because everything should be thought of as being grateful for. And when you can do that, everyone's going to be smiling a little bit more than they're not. So, and it takes a lot more energy to have a frown than it is to smile. So, and it's tough. Like, I'm not happy all the time, but I bring myself joy because I live inspired and I'm in spirit and I'm aligned. And when anyone can just be aligned with what they're doing every day and they're waking up being grateful, whew, let's keep spreading that love, huh?
Love that, man. Love that. And I can definitely feel the energy from here, from Europe. I can feel the vibes reaching us. It's been an absolute pleasure. And both me and Bogdan have definitely been, first and foremost, inspired by your story and your mindset, but also probably got quite a few bits to digest later on. And hopefully hopefully our audience has got value out of this conversation as well. It's been an absolute pleasure. And with that said, this was Pascu.
This is Bogdan, and you guys stay grateful.
Thank you so much for sticking all the way till the end. This shows that you are serious about taking your life to the next level and doing that through a perspective of gratitude. If you enjoyed this interview, it would help us massively if you could give us a 5-star rating review on iTunes, or else share this on your stories and tag us. This way, with your help, our message will be seen by more people, and together we will make this world a better place.